when you talk about capitalism, we are talking about free market. We are talking about trade liberalization, okay? We are talking about individual going for what they want, to make their lives better. Unlike socialism, that we want to tell you that there has to be control. In whatever thing you do, the government must control. The government must set the pace. The government must do this. The government must do that. But in the case of capitalism, the individual is free. We have to correct one impression. Capitalism is not a colonial mentality. Even before the advent of the colonial masters here, we had free trade. These people, this enclave that is called Nigeria, that the people were forcefully brought together, they were trading as international bodies. And the essence of trade is to make profit, and they were trading and making profit. Initially, government provides services that if they allow private individuals to provide, they are going to exploit the masses. But now the government is into business. Government does no longer provide services. They want to make profit. In some cases where there is no profit, the government close down that organization. You can look at NNPC is privatized. You can look at some of these. You have either 40% government, 60%. It's an element of liberalization. One of the reasons why we are not progressing, corruption. Corruption is number one, why we are not progressing. If the Nigerian economy would have been best. But nepotism, you can see it. When you bring somebody who is not qualified to man a position, you have a problem. We need to put the right people at the right place. They have to make good policies and allow the environment, free play, to take place. And then one thing is making policy, another thing is implementing the policy. For instance, if you are going to make an agricultural policy, those who are involved in the agricultural sector must be represented before you make a policy. Because you can't just stay and then make a policy and then will affect those who are supposed to be in the agricultural sector. They are involved. Their ideas should be also carried along in public policy making. In Nigeria, the government is part of it. Because those in government, don't forget, there are different, politics is a strife of interests, okay, masquerading as a contest of principles. So most of the people in government, they have their interests they protect. They have their interests they protect. And so instead of allowing free competition to exist, they want to support one particular group to stifle the other ones even at best, so they can maximize profit and get their own cut. That's the problem we have.
Capitalism on its own is both an ideology and an economic movement. Both as an ideology and as an economic movement, it has become a system. It has come to be established in the Nigerian society. In not too distant past, we have had this challenge or this problem of the colonialist mentality, and that in its way, on its own, is not because capitalism is a thing of the colonizers. No, it is argued from the perspective on how third world countries, with Nigeria inclusive, we are linked into the global capitalist system. That is the nature in which they are linked, and they are made to primarily occupy a position that puts them as just producers. That has been what has dominated the literature in the past. But going forward, one cannot continue to remain in a certain situation because issues of society are quite dynamic. The fluidity of society is high. We expected as a people to, at this time, to begin to make good of the situation we have found ourselves. After all, there are other third world countries that are equally linked into the global capitalist system in the way our people have argued or thought about. So at this time, we think that the best way to go is to make the best opportunity of what capitalism has to offer. I mean, in comparing with other countries that have been in the capitalist system of government, both economically and otherwise. So we really have to benefit a lot from it. If we look at it, weigh it very well, I think that's the best system we need here in our society, considering the fact that our society is highly, highly diverse. It's a plural society wherein things like human rights and equal opportunity is a key point in getting us to our developmental aspirations. So to that effect, capitalism is what suits this society. That is just the essence, and that is what I think is the aim of the event we have today. And that is why I really have to tap my HOD, a huge tap on his back, because it really will help in addressing the problem of the ills which the mentality which the colonialist idea have left within our people, is to address it from the minds, from the studentship level, so that they begin to imbibe in them those real ideas of what capitalism has to offer. And then they begin to know, so that they begin to know that capitalism in itself is the best way to go. And then using that as a point of departure, we begin to address issues of corruption, which has actually impeded African development. Issues of leadership, which has actually impeded African development. Because that, in not too distant past, have all been taken, the issues of underdevelopment have all been taken to pour at the doorstep on the nature of how Africa, and indeed Nigeria, was linked into the global capitalist system. That is not what's supposed to be holding sway at this time. It is not an issue of whether it's going to help Nigerian society or not. What we should be discussing is, how do we ingrain it into Nigerian society? Because the question as to whether it's going to help it or not is neither here nor there. It will definitely help it. That is what the society needs. I have said earlier, owing to the plural nature of the Nigerian society, there is no other form of ideology that could help us. From the free market perspective, there is no other ideology. From the individualistic perspective, of course, it gives us the privilege to own property, both movable and immovable, anywhere all over the world. So that is what we need. We can't continue to restrict ourselves to say, I'm an Igbo man, I can't move or go out of my domain to do business and have, of course, properties. Same with the other people from the other tribes. And this mixture has a way of bringing development. It has a way of bringing prosperity. So free market enterprise as a feature of capitalism cannot be negotiated. It is, of course, the veritable way to go.